We have to start with the game last night in Santa Clara, where the San Francisco 49ers just dominated and opened up a can of whoop ass on the drama Dallas choking Cowboys, as the final score was 42-10. And well, on the big stage once again, the drama Dallas choking Cowboys showed why I call them the drama Dallas choking Cowboys. That is as lethargic of a game and lethargic of an effort that I've ever seen from the Dallas Cowboys. And the amazing part about that is the Cowboys actually have regressed from where they are the last 2 years. Because the last two times in a big playoff game against the San Francisco 49ers, those games were actually close. Those games came down to Dak Prescott not being able to get the ball in the end zone at the end of the game. But that was a good old-fashioned ass-whooping last night where the 49ers just destroyed the Dallas Cowboys. And the Cowboys are fraudulent. Don't give me any of this nonsense. Oh, they're this great team. They're different. And all you cockroach Cowboys fans, you're all popping up out of nowhere when you beat three bad teams and dominated three bad teams in the Giants, the Jets, and the Patriots. Well, last night, you got exterminated up against another great team, and it just shows you that the Dallas Cowboys are the definition of a good team, but not a great team. And when they go up against superior talent, when they go up against great teams in the NFL, the Cowboys' deficiencies are shown and they're on full display. But to not even have a pulse in the game last night, to not even have a remote chance to win that game last night, it was severely disappointing. Because as a football fan, I got off the 8-hour marathon of Ion Football yesterday on CBS Sports Radio. I rush home. I order my Chinese food, make sure I get my pork and shrimp egg roll, my sesame chicken, got some fried rice, some dumplings as well. And I was fired up to watch the game. And I placed a delivery order. It takes about 45 minutes to get there. And by the time the food got there, the game was a wrap. And it's amazing how the Cowboys have the same problem since they last won a Super Bowl. And that was all the way back in the 1995 season. They just don't have an ability to show up and be present on a big stage. And you can't tell me that this isn't a talented football team. Dak Prescott's a talented quarterback. CeeDee Lamb is a talented wide receiver. Mike McCarthy has won a Super Bowl in this league. Micah Parsons is one of the best defensive players in the NFL. And I know that the 49ers are filled with talent all over the field. We know the 49ers are a roster that is just a definition of being an elite roster and one of the top rosters, if not the top roster in the NFL. But you can't tell me that the difference between those two teams is 42-10. And there's a difference from being great to being good. But when you are a good team, which the Cowboys are, the difference shouldn't be 42-10 when you're going up against the elite San Francisco 49ers. And if you're a Cowboys fan, your season's over. And what I mean by that is, sure, you're going to go win 11, 12 games like you've done the last 2 years, but last night just reiterates to you that you know in the big moment in an NFC that, right, the Eagles are damn good, the 49ers are damn good, we know that. You know when you get into the playoffs, even if you have one little playoff victory against the Buccaneers like last year, it's all for nothing. Because when you go up against those elite teams like Philadelphia and like the 49ers in the playoffs, don't give me this regular season crap when you play the Eagles twice. I know you've had a good record against them. Or, we saw last night you couldn't even compete with the 49ers. But when you get into the postseason and everyone's watching you, and we know how big the stage is, there's just no way, if I'm a Cowboys fan, that I could realistically anticipate that this team, which they're not going to have a bye, is going to be able to win 3 games to find themselves in a Super Bowl. Heck, I don't even have confidence they'll be able to win back-to-back games to get to an NFC title game. Because this team is just allergic to the big moment. When they see the big moment, they start to crap their pants, they start to get hives, and they have to start to check themselves into the hospital because they just can't respond on a big stage. And it's not as if I could just pinpoint it to one thing. McCarthy got outcoached last night. Dak Prescott got outplayed by Brock Purdy. The run game for San Francisco, far superior than the Dallas Cowboys. And it's not like Tony Pollard's a bad back. He's a really damn good running back. He's making $10, $11 million this year on the franchise tag. And all we heard was this great Dallas Cowboys defense. And, this Cowboys defense, they're starting to remind you of the 85 Bears and the early 2000 Ravens. Similar to the Legion of Boom. That's a bunch of hogwash. That's a bunch of nonsense. You had Brock Purdy carve you up, rock out with this Brock out, and look Purdy awesome, and go 17 of 24 for 252 yards, 4 touchdowns. And it got so bad, they said, we'll put Sam Darnold in there. Christian McCaffrey got in the end zone. Jordan Mason got into the end zone. George Kittle was the easiest anytime touchdown bet of my life at plus 240 last night. And he also had 3 touchdowns in the game. Deebo Samuel dominant. Brandon Ayuk dominant as well. But this score should not have been 42-10. And the Cowboys now are directionless. Because if they would have lost 27-24, if they would have lost 27-21, something that constitutes an actual football game, we would have all said, yeah, I want to see the rematch. Yeah, let's see this divisional weekend. Let's see this in an NFC title game. But when it's 42-10, bye-bye. The Cowboys are what they've always been. They choke on the big stage, and they're not ready for the big moment. So go win you 11, 12 games this year. I'm sure the cockroaches will pop back up as you get into January. All right, here comes the Cowboys. Here they come. How about them Cowboys? The Cowboys are back. This is going to be their year for the first time since the 1995 season. You know it, and I know it. After last night, you don't have a prayer. You don't have a chance to be in an NFC title game or a Super Bowl this year. Your apex is getting to the divisional round and losing in the divisional round. And there's no difference from the team this year compared to the team the last 2 years. And quite frankly, after what I saw last night, it looks like it got worse. Because as I said in the open, the last 2 years, those games were actually close. Dak choked in the big moments. This year, you didn't even have an opportunity to choke because San Francisco saw you and San Francisco ran right through you like a hot knife through butter. And what a disgraceful performance that was by the Dallas Cowboys. Shouldn't even have made the trip to Santa Clara. Shouldn't even have got off the team bus if you're going to be that weak and that lethargic and that lame on a football field. And you know what? It drives me crazy when teams lose and they just can't take it on the chin and they just can't admit, hey, we sucked tonight. Hey, we were horrible tonight. Hey, we were embarrassing to the sport that we all grew up loving tonight. This is Micah Parsons after the game in the locker room talking to reporters. When I saw this on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days, I thought this was a fake quote. I saw this and I just only saw it via words and via text. And I go, there's no way. Micah Parsons, who I like, Micah Parsons is really sharp. I enjoy his podcast, all that stuff. And he is like an alpha, right? He is a lion. I'm like, there's no way Micah Parsons actually uttered these words. And I texted Samter, I go, you got to find me this audio. Because I think I'm getting played here on social media. But oh, no. Samter found the audio. Here it is from Micah Parsons.
I don't think they really are higher level than us. I think we're the same caliber playoff team, if not the same talent standard as them. I just feel like we need to really reconsider some things, get together, fix some things. I feel like it was a few plays away. The score don't really shape what really happened out there.
A few plays away? You would have thought they lost the game by 10. You would have thought they lost the game by 14. Micah, you lost the game 42-10 for crying out loud. You can't say, oh, the score doesn't really indicate what happened on the field. Oh, we're just a few plays away. And that's the reality here. And Micah Parsons isn't wrong when he says, we have similar talent. Yes, you have similar talent. The 49ers are better. The 49ers know how to utilize their talent. The 49ers know how to win. And they haven't even won a Super Bowl yet. But they're consistently in the mix and consistently in the NFC title game. You have all this talent. You have the Ferrari in the driveway. But you got a busted tire, you got a broken windshield, and you have no gas in the tank to get you from point A to point B. Doesn't matter if you have a good-looking car, if you don't have a tire, if you have a crack in your windshield, and if you have no gas. But that's the Dallas Cowboys. They always look like the part. They always want to give you a reason to believe. And then on the big stage, they disappear. Put the Cowboys' face on a milk carton, why don't you? Because they're missing in action last night, and that was just embarrassing. Now, on the other side, after 10 minutes of Cowboys bashing, you do have to acknowledge and praise the San Francisco 49ers. Because that is as good of a victory as any team will have this season in the NFL. Now, the 49ers don't win anything last night in terms of their ultimate goal of Super Bowl or bust. And we know they're one of the few teams in the NFL that are Super Bowl or bust this year. But the 49ers sent a big message last night. And we all missed it. Because going into this game, it was all, can the Cowboys show up? Can the Cowboys send a message? Can the Cowboys show that something is different? How the 49ers dominated that game, everyone's reaction today. I don't care if you love the 49ers. I don't care if you hate the 49ers. But everyone now is going to say, oh, the 49ers are the best team in the NFL. That's what everyone's going to say. Now, I think there's a legitimate conversation to be had, and we'll see that matchup later in the year between the 49ers and the Eagles. But if the 49ers don't get to the Super Bowl this year and don't win the Super Bowl this year, this season's a disaster for them. And that's going to be tough in the NFC because the Eagles are just as good, if not better, you can make the case. But the 49ers have everything this year. And I got to give praise to Brock Purdy. And I've said it before, I think he's a system quarterback right now that could one day turn into a franchise quarterback. But regardless of how you want to word it, that system and what he's running right now is working. And he did a great job extending the plays last night. He did a great job spreading out the football too and playing the ultimate point guard role. But really, my biggest takeaway from last night, we all know how great the 49ers are defensively. Everyone knows that. And sometimes it gets lost how great they are defensively because for the last few years, the entirety of the conversation has been who's going to be playing quarterback for the 49ers? Is it Jimmy G? Is it Trey Lance? Is it Sam Darnold? Is it Brock Purdy? Are they going to get Kirk Cousins? Is it Nick Mullins? Like, we went through the entire circulation of names that you could have. But that defense has always been great. That defense has always been dominant. But last night, they took it to a different level of dominance because Dak Prescott, who is just outside, in my opinion, a top 10 quarterback in the league, but is paid like he is a great quarterback. They just went after him all night. He didn't have a second to breathe. He was under duress all throughout the evening, threw 3 interceptions. So much for Dak telling us before the year, oh, he's going to cut down his turnovers. Finally against a big opponent. The Dak Prescott of the last few years is apparent. And then you look at the run game. I know it helps when you're off to that big of a start. But that run game for Dallas, which for years we talked about their offensive line and their run game, they did nothing in the game last night. Their leading rusher was Tony Pollard. He had a measly 29 yards. I didn't even hear a peep at a CeeDee Lamb in the game last night. And it speaks to this defense because if you just looked at the score and if you just watched the game and you knew nothing about the history of the Cowboys and the 49ers, you would have thought the Cowboys this season would be heading to pick top 10 in the draft. And the 49ers were like the greatest team you've ever seen. It's one thing to win a game in a dominant fashion, but to just emasculate the other team takes it to a totally different level. So it's very simple. We all know the 49ers are a Super Bowl or bust team, and the Cowboys are just fraudulent. The Cowboys are just a team where they could look like they're going to be heading real far, but you know it and I know it. At the end of the day, this team in a big spot is going to fail, and there's just not consistency in the big moments as you would hope if you're a Cowboys fan, where they finally show up, they finally get the job done. They've consistently failed to show up on the big stage and get back to a Super Bowl, get back to an NFC title game, because the numbers don't lie. And the facts are, since the 1995 season, Jerry's team hasn't been to a Super Bowl or they haven't been to an NFC title game, and the same damn thing is happening once again.